Ndị Igbo ekene m unu. Asị m ka nke echukwelu ya zelu. Anyị si ndụ mmiri ndụ azụ. Mmiri atara m azụ anwụra. Asa dịrị mma na eke, dịrị mma na orie, fọzara mma na afọ, fọzara mma na nkwọ. Ụzọ ahịa anọ nke ndị Igbo ji biri. Asị na ya dịra n'Igbo na mma o. Ise, ise, ise. Dịka o si dị ka agbapụ na ya ọsọ igosi na ya bụ ife anyị ji maka ya wee bịa. Na tupu anyị aga n'igosi na ya bụ ife, ọ bụla nke a bụ ụbọchị izu gị. Ị na-ejete afọ chanel aya n'Igbo akwụkwọ ka baro ka ị like and subscribe o. Tinyekwa kọmentị, share ekwe ya, tụsa ya bụ ozi ka ụmụnne anyị dị n'ebe dị iche iche wee nụ ya bụ ife na-eme n'obodo a. Dịka o si dị, ihe wetara unu tata bụ nnukwu ọpdeti dị oke mkpa. Mma nchọ ka onye ọbụla misie ya, mma nchọ ka ị ga ya bụ ife, ị ga-esi ya bụ ife wetara unu gbasa maka ya bụ ife na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya. And nwere ndị Igbo na-azọ drọpụra ya ọnụ kọmentị n'ihe a nwanne anyị nwoke kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ dị oke mkpa ka anyị mara ife iche n'ụdị nke gị. All right, over to you, sir.
Somebody else was asking me, say, Major Prophet of God, what do you think about the man called Simon Ekpa? I said, Simon Ekpa is possessed. And the people begin to ask, what kind of possess? And I told them, I said, Simon Ekpa is fully possessed. And also is a man that everybody should be careful to stay out. What's the meaning of that? The meaning of that is what is called possessed with the spirit of freedom. When somebody is possessed with the spirit of freedom, it will be in such a way that the person has no any other thing to do than to fight for what's called freedom. So you look at the Biafran land as a place called the fatherland of Biafra. The spirit of freedom right there in Biafra has already completely possessed Simon Ekpa. And as he has possessed Simon Ekpa, you that is trying to begin to, make noise or fight with him or do one thing or the other, you are also fighting the spirit of freedom. And if anything happened to you, it is not my concern, because you don't understand how spiritual things and the things of the spirit goes. Because in the realm of the spirit, when God wants to make sure somebody is used for a purpose, the person will be used based on the coming upon the spirit, or what the kind of power that has possessed you, or the spirit that has possessed you. So spirit of freedom is already in his life and has possessed him fully, and they cannot talk any other thing than what's called freedom. And if anybody needs to move on the same direction or the same path, you must also come to the level of that level of spirit of freedom to endow you and possess you, and then you can be able to talk about freedom. People that talk about freedom with empty mouth, they end up and they're carried by chaff. When the wind blows, they are carried away. People that talk about freedom, when something bribe is given to them, they will just betray and go away. But people that are possessed with the spirit of freedom, with the spirit of Biafra land, no matter the bribe you give to them, they will never accept your bribe. They will never agree with you. If you like, take presidency of social country, they will never accept it from you, except that freedom that has possessed them, that they are after. That's what they go about. So Simon Ekpa is already filled with the spirit of what's called freedom fighting. And so you should stay clear and not fight the man that has received what is called the grace, or received the power or the spirit of freedom. Don't fight that man. Fighting that man will destroy your life. It may even cost you what you and your generation may continue to suffer it. So I am not here to begin to, follow anybody or side anybody. I am here to throw the light of what I am seeing in the spirit, because the spiritual always control the physical. And when I'm giving the message that's called the spiritual message, I pass it raw the way it is. So Simon Ekpa is a man that has already been filled and also possessed fully with the spirit of freedom. And spirit of freedom is not the kind of spirit that you joke with. When Jesus came upon the face of the earth, he said, the spirit of the Father is upon me, for he has anointed me. The spirit of the Lord has come upon me. He has anointed me to preach the good tidings, to spread the good news, to carry the word of God all over the place. And Jesus was doing exactly what the spirit of the Father possessed him to do. And that same spirit was what made him, that even to extent that he died on the cross and was buried, and on the third day he resurrected, because there's a spirit that quickened the dead body. And the spirit quickened Jesus, and Jesus went up and began to do exactly what he came to the world to do. So Simon Ekpa, you are seeing, is a disciple of what's called freedom fighting, and the spirit of freedom has fully possessed him, and you can never separate him from that spirit, and they can never one day wake up and talk about any other thing rather than talking about freedom. And that is why most of the revelations you are seeing and most of the deep mysteries and deep things that is bringing out here and there is based on the spirit of freedom that is upon his life. So if you want to stop him, go first of all and remove the spirit of freedom out of him. So when you remove the spirit of freedom, then you can have a way. But if you cannot remove the spirit of freedom, you better join him and not fight him. That is what's going on. And then you come to the Biafran land as a Biafran nation. All the people that must talk about freedom are people in the class of what's called Dim or Jumegu Ojuku. We talk about people, you go straight away, you talk about somebody like Namo de Kano. You talk about every other person that is not known, but they are hot. You talk about Simon Ekpa. You talk about Major Prophet David Kinglo Elijah. We are not talking about this freedom based on, oh, yeah, we are so, or we want to collect money or this or that. We are talking about the emancipation of God's people. God's people is in Nigeria, and also their light is not shining. It's supposed to shine the way it ought to shine to change the destiny of Africa, to change the destiny of the people right here in the South Africa and the West Africa, Nigeria side, to change their destiny, to even bring a blessing to Yorubas, to the Hausas, to Fulanis and everywhere, to bring the light that will shine permanently. But it is quite unfortunate.
Good evening, SVUers. This is Startling Media. Mr. Okpara quickly talk to us about the statement that came from a major prophet saying that Simon Ekpa is possessed. But this time around, the possession has to do with the spirit of freedom. And as such, that if you are fighting him, it's like someone standing before a moving train that is going to crush the person. Rather, the right thing to do is to walk with him. How does it come to you?
You see, as major prophets, as a prophet of man, prophet of God, he knew what he saw in the realm that made him that someone said that someone is possessed. And people may not understand him when he said that someone is possessed. They may think that someone is possessed with a demon, spirit of demons. They may think so. Even some his enemies in Nigeria may say, hey, I said it. But the man come to put it clearly that he was possessed with the spirit of what? Freedom. Spirit of force, wisdom, which means the same spirit that possessed Moses, the same spirit of God that possessed Moses when he saw burning bush and the bush is not consumed, which means the same spirit possessed Simon Ekpa that made Moses able to liberate his people out of land of Egypt by grace of God. Now, the same spirit possessed Simon Ekpa. And to watch all of them that fought against Moses, both the Egyptians and the Israelites, all of them end up mysteriously. Pharaoh and his army finally end up in the Red Sea. Dathan, Korea, and Abira end up in wilderness. The earth open mouth and swallow them. Even Miriam, who accused Moses, end up in leprosy. If not that Moses intervened, she could have died in leprosy. So that is what major prophet have said, that anybody who is fighting against Simon Ekpa because he's fighting for the freedom of his people, Biafrans, we end up like those who fought against Moses.
But do you actually believe that the spirit of freedom actually possesses Simon Ekpa? Because he have likened Simon Ekpa to the lives of Nnamdi Kanu, the lives of Ojukwu, who according to him had the same spirit of freedom.
Yes. If you can see these three people he mentioned, you will know that they take a risk of life. Ojukwu, if not by the grace of God, he could have lost his life in the war. Look at where Nnamdi Kanu is now. If not by the grace of God, Nnamdi Kanu could have been a dead person now. And you see how he's rolling. Now he fought to the hand of Simon Ekpa. In the absence of Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa still pick courage, doing what he's doing. And if he not People like Simon Ekpa, both Nnamdi Kanu, if not a person like Simon Ekpa, both Nnamdi Kanu and Biafran issue could have been a dead thing by now. Have you seen it? So, and I pray that soon, very soon, Biafra could come to stay so that Nnamdi Kanu will come out. Because the way I look at this personally, I don't think that this Nigerian government will release Nnamdi Kanu.
But there's current move now. You understand that just as expected, very soon, the southeastern part of the South Eastern Governors Forum, under the leadership of Hope Uzodinma, will be meeting with Tinubu to press home the demand of the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And by our understanding, his case will be coming up on the 24th of September also. That is when Nigerians, the world, will know whether all the move politically to getting released have been achieved.
You see, when you're talking of people fighting for the Biafrans on Nnamdi Kanu, immediately you mention Uzodinma or others like him, is a thing of mockery. How can a person whom you sponsor to kidnap, how can a person who is said don't release him, if release him, his own have been finished? How can you say a person who want to die, now you turn back again and say keep him alive, bring him out? It's impossible. All those things of them is cover up. It's cover up. Is it not among the people that plan to kidnapping of Nnamdi Kanu? Is it not among them hold meeting with the then government of Nigeria, plan it and say we will execute it, just give us the money?
No, I don't have such information.
Okay.
Is this something you have on good authority, or you are speculating?
I have good authority. There's something I wanted to post to you, particularly yesterday, but I don't know how that thing trip off from YouTube.
You have it on good authority.
I have good authority. If I can mention the name one after the other and tell you how much they collected.
No, I don't think it's necessary because you may not have the evidence.
Okay, but this is why I am the new Okokonde.
Okay, this is something you want to mention.
No, you say I don't have good authority. Hold it. But when
What I'm saying is, if you have evidence to prove it.
okay, whenever I was able to get that click again, I will post it to you. Then we discuss
If
on
you don't have evidence, don't say it.
Okay, don't worry. But heaven know that I'm saying the truth.
I'm saying if you don't have evidence, don't say it.
The earth know that I'm saying the truth. Even they themselves that committed the crime know that I'm telling the truth.
For your own benefit and for everybody's benefit, for your own safety. If you don't have evidence, don't say it.
Okay, but
You who makes the allegation, the onus lies on him to prove. Because if you say something against anyone and they come and say, what is your evidence? That is why I'm saying if you don't have evidence,
yes,
don't say it.
I understand what you are saying. Because if you go to court now, they will tell you exhibit A, exhibit B, where's your evidence? But I'm telling you the truth, that they know themselves that what I'm saying is the truth.
But even at that, if there's no evidence, there's no need bringing it up.
Okay, thank you. I have had the advice. So, I don't see the possibility of political solution on this Nnamdi Kanu case. That is time buying. And I don't see people like Uzodinma to stand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. He may come out and say we are doing it, but behind the curtain is another thing. You understand?
Are you sure?
What is sure? What is sure? Because you take the killing and the most how to handle things to know what is in the mind of that man.
What are the likes of Senator Ina Baribe, who led some other senators from the southeastern part of the country to meet with the Attorney General of the Foundation to drum the release of Nnamdi Kanu? And remember that the same Senator Ina Baribe at the time stand as a shorty for Nnamdi Kanu, where he paid 100 million naira.
Yes, he did so. He did so. But behind the curtain, what happened?
I don't know what happened behind the curtain.
Is it not the same Abaribe that wrote to Finland government to hand Simon Ekpa over to them?
I don't have such information.
You don't have such information, but it's on the air, it's on the line. If Abaribe will love Nnamdi Kanu to be free and set free, then why should him wrote to Finland government or stand to bring Simon Ekpa back down to Nigeria, where it's the same pursuit of Nnamdi Kanu that Simon Ekpa is trying to accomplish?
I don't have such information.
You don't have such information. So all of them altogether the same more than 10 corrupt politicians. I don't believe them.
I must say a very thank you for your time, Mr. Okpara. Thank you very much. This is Satellite Media.
ndị be anyị ekenekwanụ m unu dịka unu si wepụta oge unu igekwa ya bụ ife nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa eji maka ya wee bịa n'iru akwụkwọ na Igbo midia bụ ebe anyị si wee na-wetara unu ya bụ nnukwu ozi dị oke mkpa gbasịta maka ihe na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya, ana gbasịta maka nnwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ, ana gbasịta maka Maazị Nnamdi Kanu's ladies. Dịka ị nụrụ ihe nwanne anyị nwoke kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ, ka efi were ikwu n'udo nke gị asị gị kwuo ka efi were ikwu maka na otu aka o jedebe njọ ọ ya adịkwanụ mma. Ọ bụrụ na ọtụ ụmụnne m, achọrọ m ka unu tinyere anyị alụ nke unu ife unu chere n'iru akwụkwọ, ikwucha ya bụ ife kapa arụsie ya kwurụta ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ntị, kwurụta ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ntị. Darụrụ nne na ụmụnne m kpọmọ na-ege ntị, anyị na-ekene ndị nnekunu si na-esoyere anyị esiri ngwa nke mesịa n'ụmụ Igbo.